Hello everybody and welcome to DC Fine Art. Today we're going to be working on a light bulb. Now the reason why I chose the light bulb is it's going to be in color pencil and it's going to be working on shiny surfaces such as the metal in the light bulb or the glass in the light bulb. Both those two are some really challenging things to work on in your artwork, at least it is for some. So I'm going to cover some tips is what I'm going to do in this video. If you're looking for something a little bit slower where I'm working on it, nothing being cut out, then you can find this video. It will be coming soon to my Patreon. The link is in the description below. And there I will end up posting a video of the same light bulb, but I'll be working on it a whole lot slower and I won't cut out anything in there to try to speed up the video. So cool things are happening over on Patreon. We also got some reference photos that I broke up into two collections on there. So, or two, I think that's what they call them, is like collections or categories. So now I have the option for anybody who is in the Sapphire tier and higher gets 3 reference photos that I took myself. And this light bulb is one of the reference photos if you are in the Sapphire tier and higher. And for my Pearl tier, which is the highest tier, you get an additional 3 more reference photos that I've taken myself. And so those will be uploaded in those categories or in those little collections each month. So really cool things are happening besides the coloring page thing. So just wanted to make an announcement on there. If you're interested in checking those out, the link is in the description below. I do have some free videos on there, one for each medium if you're wanting to see how the lessons are, how I do the lessons, or just kind of go over it a whole lot slower what I'm doing. Then you can find the free ones underneath each category. There should be at least one video in there for free for anybody to watch. You do not have to be a member to watch those. So yeah, I think I covered everything. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. All right, so I start out by erasing my pencil marks that's on the paper. So this is my reference or my sketch that I have on the paper. So I try and get those off, but I usually do them a little bit at a time. Now, the metal that I'll be working with, the colors that I chose was the Payne's gray or any of the cold grays. Now you could end up using some of your warm grays. That's all going to be depending on what kind of light you're using, your light source. If you're using a amber colored light or something that has more of that tan look, then I would go with more of your warm grays. If you have more of a daylight bulb or something that is a lot brighter, LED bulbs that are brighter, then I would go with your steel grays, your cold grays, and of course your Payne's gray for some of the darker grays. And then always include like your white and your black. You are definitely going to be using white and black, so that way you have a really good contrast between colors, between your lights and darks. Now, what I'm doing in order to create this is by looking at my reference photos, and I'm not looking at it as metal. I'm not looking at it as having ridges going in and out. I am basically looking at the colors. That's what you got to train yourself to do. Look at the colors in the reference photo. Where do those colors go in your reference photo? So as you're working, put your darks in where your darks are supposed to go according to where your reference photo is. I didn't do them exactly to a T because it just, I don't know. That's one thing with me. It's like I get it close, and that's all you really have to do. Get them as close as you can to the reference photo. So put your darks in where your darks go according to the reference photo. Put in your lights where your lights go, and just work from there. So everything is going to be done by looking at that reference photo. That is your friend. So now we're going to be blending this out with OMS. Just remember, it's always going to be darker when it's wet. When it dries, it will lighten. So here I am just kind of blending those out, getting them smoother so that way there ain't no graininess to it. And then I'm going to end up starting on the light bulb here. And after that dries, if you want to come back and add another layer to it, you can. You can add some more white to that metal where the whites go, just to make it a little bit more brighter. So you can always add in a second layer if needed. Now we're going to be working the same way using or doing this light bulb here. As you can see, I see little reflections in there, and I'm just going to put them in where I see them. I'm not thinking that it's a bulb. I'm not thinking it's glass. I'm not thinking three-dimensional. I'm just looking at it based off the colors that I see, and I try to incorporate and make those same kind of colors in my picture that I'm doing. So just keep an eye on your reference photo, look at where those colors are, put those colors in where they need to go. So here I am making the inside of this bulb, and I'm just putting in some of these browns and greens in there. But of course, we're not really, I wanted to stick this part in here because it is important, because sometimes your brain tells you, okay, that's the inside of the bulb, and it can mess with you. So basically, I just want you guys to keep an eye on this, looking at the colors. And then after you get the inside of that bulb done and you put in those colors first, you can always go on top of it with your whites. And that makes it look more like it's on the inside of the bulb. So that can also help. Now, I did take out some of my warm grays on this because, like I said, I have paper that has a warm gray kind of tone to it. So if I'm needing to make a color that kind of like, let's just say I want to tone it back and make it look like the paper that's back behind it, I can use a warm gray to kind of match it up. Now, the color pencils that I'm using is the Polychromos and the Caran Luminance. Now the white that I am using, I really like the Derwent white, but then the Derwent Drawing Chinese white is like the best white. That's like the brightest white, and it's so easy to go on top of any of the colors if you're wanting to make adjustments or make it lighter. So here I am erasing some of those circles and reflections, and now I'm going to stick my white in there. And then I'm going to come through and start adding some of my gray tones in there, because that's what I see in the reference photo. It just goes from a white to like a gray in the center, like kind of faded. And that's only because of the light that I used in order to take this reference photo. There was quite a bit of reflection going on, and a lot of those circles and bright lights going on. I tried to stick them in the best I could. Now I'm going through and just kind of making a little bit of more of a darker kind of reflection that's going on that I see in my reference photo, going in and around the bulb, and just trying to match it up the best that I possibly can with the reference photo on the colors. And I mean, I could have went a shade lighter, I could have went a shade darker. It's totally up to you, because everybody sees things and sees not just things, but sees colors differently. So some colors, you know, when you're looking at it, you may see it a little bit lighter. When I'm looking at it, it may seem a little bit darker than that. But in all reality, you put in as close as you can to the colors to the reference photo. And then if you take a step back and give your eyes a rest, because sometimes you can look at it for so long that you don't realize that whenever you come back and look at it, you're like, oh my goodness, it's way too light. Or you start noticing things about your painting that you're just not liking. And you're like, okay, that just completely bugs me. And that has happened with this light bulb for me. Even though it was looking really good, I was so proud. I'm like, oh, this is it. You know, I like the way it looks. It's perfect, you know. I come back, give my eyes a rest from it, take a break, step away from it, go get yourself a snack, and then you come back and look at it and you're like, wait just a second. That color is way too light. It needs to be darker. And maybe some of your darker areas, you're like thinking, okay, that's too dark. I need to lighten it a little bit in this area. It just don't look right. So then you can come back and you start layering some more. You start making adjustments. You start making it lighter in areas that you think that maybe it's too dark. Or you start making things lighter in some of the areas that you think that was too dark. So either way, as you notice with this change of clip here, you've seen it go from a darker color to a lighter color. And the reason why is because I used OMS to blend out these colors, just to make them smooth, kind of get rid of some of that graininess. Now, it will be darker when you put that OMS on your paper. Give it time, let it dry. It will lighten up. As you can see, it was like a major lighten up. So now that that is lightened up, I'm going back over it again, creating my reflections, just kind of going through this bulb, erasing my pencil as I go. Now you could erase all your pencil if you want to. I just kind of take it in baby steps. So I just erase some of my pencil or my sketch that's on there as I go. So here I am, just kind of making this a little bit lighter, just putting in those reflections where I see them. Now towards the end of this video, I will have a section on here that will be adjustments, and I will show you just how you can make adjustments, how easy it is to make adjustments. So if you think that, oh my gosh, you messed up, something don't look right, what am I going to do? Don't worry about it. Learn to fix your mistakes. Learn to make adjustments. And that's what this video is going to have toward the end of it. So right now I'm just putting in my light reflections in there, putting in all those little white dots. I'm not putting in every single one of them, but I'm putting in some of the major ones that I see in the reference photo. Blending out some of this area in here. You can't really see it too much, but I did put some color pencil in there that's closest to the paper color that I had. Coming in here and blending out some of this area of the gray tones. Making it a little bit smoother. And then blending out this little white circle here that was a highlight. Now here comes the making adjustments. So I didn't like how white that little reflection was, so I went ahead and erased it. It was just easy as that. Erase it and then go over it with more. I'm using more of my paper tone color. This looked a little bit too dark, so I lightened it up a little bit. So I put a little bit more of my pencil tone in there, or my paper tone color in there, just making that light highlight of that circle and just making it not as bright white is what I was going for. I seen in this area here that it was a little bit too bright, so I'm adding in some of that darker tone that's more of the color of the paper, putting in a little bit of highlight in there, and then going over it with OMS. It's just as easy as that to make corrections if needed. And here is the light bulb. I really did enjoy working with this, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So until next time, bye you guys.